So I told my team it's time to cancel the Jacksonville, Florida component of the GOP convention.
President Trump with a surprising announcement pulling the plug on the RNC in Jacksonville. And tonight, Mayor Lenny Curry talking about it for the first time. He did not make himself available for local media, but did appear on Fox News this afternoon.
We agreed when we saw it, when we made the pitch for this convention, it was June 2nd. We had a 3% cumulative positivity rate. It dropped even in the week after that. But we always said we would watch that, we would monitor it, and we would make the appropriate decision at the right time. We were communicating our caseloads and our hospitalizations to the President, to the White House, to the RNC. And the President Trump made the right decision yesterday, as we knew he would, in the best interest of the health of the people of Jacksonville.
So it would have been 1 month from today that the Republican National Convention opened up shop here in Jacksonville. Now the RNC will go back to North Carolina, part of the original plan. And on your side's Alex Osiris spoke with a political science professor who weighs in on the impact for Florida leaders and how the convention may take on a completely different look before all is said and done.
Charlotte to Jacksonville and back to Charlotte as a political convention comes together. What are the politics behind it?
Long-term politically for both Governor DeSantis and Mayor Curry, they may find that this being canceled is actually a blessing, not only for the community, but for their political futures.
Daniel Crunworth says he was surprised by the Thursday announcement to cancel RNC plans in Jacksonville. With the virus that continues to spread, the stakes were already high. Host cities typically have years to plan and prepare, so with just 75 days to get ready, Crunworth says doing the city and its residents justice with the event was unlikely.
I think that a lot of the original planning and a lot of the investment that the city of Charlotte put into this event will be able to accommodate them far better than what we could have in the ad hoc way, which Jacksonville was trying to pull it off.
The city of Charlotte released a statement pointing to an agreement in place with the RNC for a scaled-back meeting, accommodating 336 of the 2,400 delegates in person. Crunworth thinks the RNC will look more like what the Democrats are doing with their convention, having outlined a virtual plan weeks ago.
Optically, we don't know how many people will be there. How will that be staged? What will be the political stagecraft for that?
Still to come, a GOP fundraiser calling the move a retreat. I'll have that interview coming up at 6. Reporting, Alex Osiris, First Coast News, on your side.